Cute kid, huh? Believe it or not, that was me when I was 9 years old. See, I love to do two things at that age. I love to play basketball, and I love to surf the internet. So what better way to spend my summer vacation than to build a website all about basketball? And that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, I only had 3 visitors: my mom, my dad, and me. But it was okay. It was going to be a big year. I was starting 3rd grade. I had to learn to swim and memorize the multiplication tables. And worst of all, my bedtime was 9 o'clock. So I didn't have enough time for my dream, so I took it and I pushed it aside. Age 13, I was growing up. I had turned into an online gaming machine. You could find me anytime up with my friends playing online games. One day, I had an idea of my own. I told my friends about my video game idea, and they all loved it. I went to my room, I grabbed my piggy bank, I dumped it out, and I found $48.22. I woke up the next morning, I contacted some game developers, and turns out you can't make a game for $48.22. So I took my dream and I pushed it aside. Age 17, inspiration struck again, but this time it was serious. See, I had taken job after job after job, and one thing stayed the same. They all sucked. And I wanted to change that. So I decided to start my own web design company. And just like any new business, you need customers to stay in business. So I spent the first few weeks emailing potential customers, calling them, and putting up ads online. Finally, after a few long weeks, I got a call from a guy named Ken. I'll never forget Ken. He called me excitedly and said, "I want you to build my website. Come to my office next week. Let's meet." Yes, this was the moment that I'd been waiting for this whole time. I ran downstairs, told my parents, and while they were excited, they were a bit worried. They wanted me to make sure that Ken was the legitimate businessman that he said he was. So I spent a few hours doing some research on his background and his business, and thankfully, he was the real deal. So the big day came. I opened the door to the office, and I saw a sea of faces turn towards me. I started feeling anxious. And then a gentleman walked over. Oh, it was Ken. And as I extended my hand out to greet him, before I could say anything, he said, "Hey there, are you lost? Are you looking for your parents?" And the world around me just froze. Here I was, trying to meet with Ken, trying to do business with him. And he looked at me like I was some confused and lost child in a large office. I was humiliated and heartbroken. Was I at the right place at the wrong time? See, today, I've been able to recover from my experiences with Ken. I'm 20 years old. I've sold and started a business. I've launched a handful of others, through which I've been able to impact hundreds of thousands of people. I'm an author, and I get the amazing opportunity to speak at conferences around the nation, sharing my experiences and knowledge. But throughout this process, one thing was unanswered in my mind. When is the right time to start pursuing your dreams? And I finally decided that I wanted to find the answer. Here's how I did it. I decided to start 2 focus groups, one with people above the age of 25 and another with people under the age of 25. I asked them 3 questions. First, if you could do anything right now, what would you do? The people above the age of 25 gave me all kinds of answers. Some, just like me, wanted to start businesses, while others wanted to retire their families and travel the world. So I had to know, are you doing it right now? Everyone above the age of 25 unanimously said no. So I asked, why not? They broke it down for me into 3 categories. The first reason why they said they weren't chasing their dreams was because they had no time. With their jobs, families, and existing responsibilities, it left no time for their dreams. The second reason people said was that they had no money. Chasing their dreams would put a financial burden on them, and they just couldn't afford it. And third, they said that they felt too old to chase their dreams. They felt like their lives had already been defined, and that they didn't want to take the risk of trying something new. So then I went and I asked the same 3 questions to people under the age of 25. I asked them first, if you could do anything right now, what would you do? Some, just like those above the age of 25, wanted to travel the world, while others wanted to pursue acting careers and write stories for kids. So I asked them, are you doing this right now? And everyone unanimously said, no. So I had to know, why not? And they too gave me 3 different responses. First, they said that they had no time. They said that with school, after-school activities, and homework, it left no time for their dreams. Second, they said that they had no money. They said that they had nothing saved up and their parents wouldn't pay for it. And third, they said that they were too young. So people above the age of 25 said that they were too old, and people under the age of 25 said that they were too young. When is the right time to start? Is the magic number only 25? See, I faced these same 3 barriers when I got started, but here's how I overcame them. Time, well, I can never seem to find enough of it. But I knew that if I wanted to make my dreams happen, I couldn't find time, I had to make time. So I spent less time going out and hanging out with my friends. I stayed up a little extra late to balance business and schoolwork. And lastly, you could even find me doing homework at lunch sometimes. Money? Well, I had no money when I started. But I didn't want to wait for a check in my bank account before I got started. So I went out and I sold websites, even though I didn't have my own portfolio. Do you guys remember Ken? See, he broke my heart and left me humiliated, to the point where I almost quit. But then one day, I had an epiphany. I was looking at the mirror, and what I thought was my biggest liability was actually my greatest asset. Yes, I was young, and yes, I still am. But the biggest difference was that I grew up with social media and technology, whereas my competitors, they were older. They had to learn it. And this is exactly what I told my clients, and they loved it. So with your dreams in mind, I ask of you 3 questions. If you could do anything right now, what would you do? Are you doing it? Why not? Thank you.